in the phrases. And I'm going to be referring to the phrases as breaths. So each phrase is one breath. And I hope you all have the notation where I numbered the lines. Okay. Okay. So I'm finally going to start now. So I'd like to first look at the first three breaths. And in these first three breaths, which is line 1 and half of line 2, the note su is the main note. And I'd like you to feel that note as home for these breaths. And the shape of su is it's just the most important thing. There's this gravity, getting to it and moving away. And all through the piece, I'm going to talk about what's the sort of the home pitch of each phrase or group of phrases. And I'd like for you to just hold the idea of that pitch as a constant in your head, even when we're playing around it. And I think about this a lot in Honkyoku. You know, we get, probably in any lineage, but in Kinko-ryu, we get obsessed with these beautiful, subtle ornaments. And we end up thinking about the ornaments, but the ornaments aren't the piece. They're just this, I don't know, these things that make the main notes more beautiful and resonant, and they're just kind of an aura around them. So anyway, if you look at the first three phrases, I'm assuming everyone reads Western notation and Shakuhachi notation. I'm just going to play the first three and then we'll proceed. Note of actually the next part. There is, everybody has these special passages for teaching. Does everybody have one of those? Just make it a little easier to, I have a few more if anybody doesn't have one. So in the second phrase, those notes without note heads, we're going to be articulating every stem, but only going very gradually between the pitches. So this is the second breath. Just if you're looking at the special passages for teaching, just the su. Does that make sense to everybody? How would people feel about just trying to play those first three, or singing them? Yuka-san, if you want to just sing, please join. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. First three phrases. Is there any questions about that? Yes, I'm doing Kinko-ryu. So, in fact, I'm articulating everything my notation is kind of a hybrid of Western and the best I could do with what I'm trying to write. So I'm trying to be specific. I, would welcome examples of how to make it more clear.
Is there an U before the re on the second line, beginning of the second line?
No,
Okay.
there's a tiny little line, so it's
Yeah,
just,
I wasn't sure what that
yeah,
was.
just a. So, now, if you would look at, on the special passages for teaching, it's the second line, it says 3A. So, these breaths, lines, from the middle of line 2 to through line 3 up, so how was I going to describe this? So each of these phrases rises up and dissolves kind of like a soap bubble, and each breath ends very softly. Since our pitch naturally goes down when we play soft, I created these phrases that end in merry notes so that you could play them in tune without struggling. So if the last note is so quiet it disappears, that's okay. The shape is the most important things in these breaths. And you can look either at the 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D, 3E. I'm just gonna play them once and then we're taking them apart. Okay, so first look at 3A on your sheet here. So if we played it really slowly and like without speeding up. Okay, I ran out of air. Give me another chance here. So your head is just gonna become married by the B flat, and then the sumeri E flat, it can stay there. And then if you just finger cheat at the end, keeping your head in sumeri position, you're gonna get a cheat married. Are there Tosan people here that I need to refer to the Tosan names, which I don't know? Or if I say like E flat, A flat, everybody's good? I hope. Okay, so let's try that first one really slowly. There are no slides on these, on this one anyway. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, and if possible, you want to keep your air. It's just your air is just doing this. So it's this. I know you're trying to learn all the fingerings, but it is. I would say that I've been told that my music is difficult to learn, but it's not hard to play once you learn it. You know, your hands will learn any pattern. They don't care. Some of the things we all know how to do are very difficult. They're only easy because we've done them a lot. And unfortunately, the older you get, the more times you have to repeat things. They say like one time for each year of your life to learn something in a new language. So, you know, for me, that just takes weeks at this point. But it's true of these phrases. Okay, so some of the fingerings will take a look at the second one, which I'd call 3B on the passages for teaching. So basically, you're going to start on Sumeri, and okay, here's a slide. going to tsu, and then you can keep your head carding and just kind of let your breath die away. So slow motion. And if you just let your breath die away, on the, were any of you in Kome Sensei's class at the beginning today? Yeah, so what he was saying, in Hiko Ryu, we have all these phrases that end with a slide up, and people say, well, how high do you go? And he says, well, there's the note that the audience should think you end on, but he says, you're just thinking it, you're disappearing before you get there. So, if it's in your mind and your sound goes away, that's fine. Let's try that second phrase. This is slowly first. One more time. Okay, good. Now take a look at the third one, 3C. So going from the A to the B to the C, you're basically just gonna slide number 4. So and I'm gonna mention other fingering shortcuts that are not necessary, but as you're sliding, you're gonna chi, the A, the B, and then when you get to the C, the D pitch, if you put your fingers down, not in a regular D, but already in the tsu, like the tsumeri or tsu-chumeri position, then there's very little you have to do. Does that make sense? I'm going to just show you Scott. And then it's just there. It's already there. Your number 1 thing is already there. So let's try that one. Let's try that one slowly. And if you end on ooh. Yeah. So, and if you just get quieter, tell me if I'm moving my head. I actually don't remember here. Yeah, I don't think you have to. Just let your So, since all our instruments are different, every pitch is some negotiation between what you're shading and what your head is doing. So, we're playing with our ears. So, let's do that as a group slowly. One more time. And now, one more time, we're going to speed up a little bit on that one and just think, if you can, think of your breath as one thing, even though your hands are moving. In other words, try not to make a puff of air on each one. Okay, here we go. We're going to speed up just slightly. I know you're going to get it. Oh. Now take a look at the...
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the oo fingering the regular oo fingering for
Yeah, the con note.
Oh.
So, like you,
So 2, 4, and 5 those.
yes. So, my teacher, Scott's teacher, also has a little handout he gives us for me it was like 45 years ago, but he calls it the story of ooh. So, you know, you're, acoustically, the shakuhachi, we all understand, you know, it goes up if you pick up one finger at a time, and then, you know, you use your mouth to go up an octave, but, so, except for ooh, which is who knows what the air is doing inside, but, it's not a clear octave. So at least in Kinko-ryu, we've sort of accentuated the differences. So the otsu, the low register ooh, we bring down a little. The upper register ooh, we bring up a little. So it's like we've done this. We've, in I think a kind of a pure way, we've exaggerated the tendencies that the instrument already has. So, anyway, why is that relevant? Anyway, so if you want to, I digressed from your question, sorry. So in otsu, if you want the octave, you have to, you just have to do this fingering. So,
So it's almost like a Uno song.
no,
Okay,
so
yeah,
san no u, only number 3 is open. That's the, san no u, is for us, it's only upper register, is the same fingering as, you know. But otsu no u, which we just call u, and that register is, oh, what did he call it this morning? Ichi-san-u, I guess. I just, is that?
I was not there, but it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So let's try, where was I? Yeah, I'm spending too much time on these phrases, but they're kind of essential to the piece. And trust me, they're not hard to play when your fingers get used to the patterns. So let's do the 3C one more time. We're going to speed up a little. So there's really no slide at the end. One more time. Yeah. And really softly at the end. Yeah, so, yeah. And if it just disappears, so your breath is basically going, ba. That's what is happening. Okay, and the next one, oh, okay. This, what did I call this one? It's 3D. And there's actually even an easier way to play it than what I wrote. So the last 3 notes, you can go, once you go from the G to the F sharp, then just release your top fingers, yeah. Yeah, but just don't do anything with your air. Yeah, that's the hardest. It's counterintuitive. You don't. So in all of these, you're going from a full sound to just letting it go. One more time on that one. Which one was it? Okay. This one is, what did I call it, 3E? There's a little more head motion here. So let's do that really slowly. One more time. I see perplexed looks.
Can you play that one again?
So the very end, once you get to the B natural, and you just keep your head there, it's really easy for that last note to come out. And then the last one, which I called number 3F, it's like 3C, except that there's a note at the beginning. So, let's do it slowly. So again, I think, yeah, your head is just through the phrase, gradually getting heavy, a little sleepy as the sound is going up. Let's try it with a little bit speeding up. You can ask me questions as we go along.
So you are keeping the hitting you normally use.
Yeah. Unless I have a slur all the way over. Did I put a slur in the? Yeah, there really should be, I guess the slur should be all the way from the beginning of that one. Yeah, the slur really should have gone all the way. But it's like the previous 3E. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Elizabeth, sometimes you are hitting and sometimes you don't hit.
Yes, so every time,
Something.
I would say that
You use the
Kinko.
Kinko or
Yes, so,
yeah, I didn't think to.
yeah. So, yeah, that Veronique is making an important point. In 3E, where you see I have slurs by 2 notes, 2 notes, 3 notes. So I am hitting number 4 on U. I'm hitting number 5 on D. So, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
What about the Ataris on the beginning? Because I don't believe you Atari to Chiridi at the very beginning of this one, but did you? I don't know if you Atari these.
If there's an Atari at the beginning, I'm notating it somehow, like with a grace note or some Western equivalent. Yes. I think if you catch me not doing it, you can point it out. How many composers are there in here? Anybody? Yeah. So yeah. So you know that maybe this is true of you. You think you're writing down exactly what you mean, but you know how it goes. So how do you see a mistake? You can't get your computer to play Shakuhachi music like you hear it. So proofreading is when somebody points out your mistakes to you, right? This probably happens to you too. I don't know any way around it, yeah. My piece that was played the first night, we've done it a good bit, I've corrected it and corrected it and corrected it, and somebody found a mistake in it. So I was pretty embarrassed. Like the wrong note, the wrong notation for the note. I would like to play from the beginning to here, even though I think some of you will be struggling to remember the new stuff. But just because at the beginning of the fourth line, there's a new section and stronger material. So the first line and a half, these three phrases are kind of the beginning, and then they're the dissolving phrases, and then it's like the piece really starts again, okay? Everybody game? Okay, pretty good. Can you feel the shape somewhat? Specific questions before I go on?
Does all this slide, does the tempo changes? Or like,
You mean the ones that go up, those phrases? Or?
like the overall phrase, large phrase, like, all the slides, do you gradually play them, or like naturally?
Naturally, I would say, these I tried to just make smaller notes and make them closer together to indicate that they, like that. I couldn't figure out a better way to do it. And I put the rest of it in the rhythm that was closest to what I thought I was doing, but everything is very elastic. So I would say that please, while I'm here, please try to do it like I'm doing it. And maybe it will feel a little different to you at home. When people play your music, do you hope they'll play I don't know what your music is like yet, but I will check it out. When someone plays something, Shakuhachi music, a different way, are you happy or upset?
I don't know about Shakuhachi, but generally, if like performers say, "Oh, should I play it like this?" and I just say yes.
Just say, this is a good point. Because I hear my music very specifically, so when I'm writing for Western instruments, maybe I over-notate a little bit, and occasionally somebody does something that's different but fits how they play, and I thought, oh, well, that's maybe better than what I wrote. But it's all, it's music. It's not, this isn't the piece, and this is just trying for me to get it to you visually, but it's such an incomplete system, and I'm happy you're here trying to learn. Anyway, so now we're going to look at lines.
I don't understand. I ordered only ordered 6.
first two breaths of line 5. Is that true? It's really actually lines 4 and 5. How was I going to explain this? So, if you think of kind of a home pitch on lines 4 and 5, it's Re and Sue Mary, kind of E flat and G. And I'm going to play it, but what I would like for you to listen to, just the shape and kind of the gravity point of each phrase, and the very end of line 5 where I've written to swipe across the finger holes. My image there was like leaves brushing against something. So very, very subtle. One of the, you've heard all different kinds of shakuhachi music here, and there are all these people who just have a huge sound and could play with anything. And I'm not that kind of a player. I'm actually not that kind of a musician, really. And what I love about solo shakuhachi is you can have the immense dynamic range of the shakuhachi shows. Shakuhachi gets eaten up when it's played with other instruments a lot. If you've played with Western instruments, you might notice that in a concert hall, if the shakuhachi's alone, you can hear everything. If another Western acoustic instrument is playing with you, it kind of eats your sound up. Those instruments are made for the sound to travel in a different way. But shakuhachi is, we can play so soft, and a lot of the things that are unique to the instrument, you really can only hear when it's by itself, when you're alone in your room. But outside, shakuhachi actually travels better than a lot of Western instruments. So who knows what that's about. Anyway, again, I digress. So I'm going to play lines 4 and 5. Do that last effect very well. My hands are not slippery enough. That's actually easy. So, if you look at the beginning of line 4, does my notation make sense there? Chi, tu, 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 tu. So you're going to do that. It's all soup, but you're just gonna it's like you, rather than just saying something, you're feeling the emotion while you're doing it. You just maybe very sensitive to everything around you, the emotions in the room, the wind if you're outside. So when I want my music to be supple and I'm writing these very small changes, that's what I would like you to feel. Whether or not you get exactly the same result as me. Do people think we could just try playing lines 4 and 5? Yes.
The little 5s in the middle of the hits. There's a 5 on the third one for each bracket. Is that to pop the back 5 hole?
On the third line? Oh, I'm back on the music, not on the third line.
Quick subject.
Um,
It's one of the words
indicates
that,
there's
yeah.
5 of these, got it, okay.
Oh. Did he answer your question?
Yes, he
Which-
did.
Thank you, which I didn't understand.
The 5 of the quintuplets is for the rhythm.
It
Not at
got confused with Atari fingers.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, it is, because it is confusing, yes. That's, yeah, just roughly, those go together like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's as close as I could come to what I think I want. Okay? Any other questions before we just try that? Yes?
So we're doing both the 4 and 5, correct?
Yes.
And at the very end of the 5th one, our fingers are separated, correct, when we do this?
Yeah, you have to, sometimes it feels really easy to me that I tried it before it didn't come out. So what what seems best for me is, you wanna feel your fingertips on both holes kind of gradually. And I'm not doing it well today, but
Okay.
yeah.
And then also, can I
Yeah.
mention one thing? Maybe don't instruct some Shakuhachi players play their opposite hands on the bottom.
Shouldn't matter. Oh, but then, yeah, if
Yeah.
so, then you should say, use your left hand. Yeah, or you're not, are you?
No,
Yeah.
I'm on
Bottom.
the right hand, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to point it out.
Yeah, so that was a good one. Yeah, it's actually,
That's
the first
fine.
piece I put this in, I was with the string quartet and I was sitting and of course I just put it on my knee and did this, that's really easy. So you're sitting down, that's really easy, that's much easier than if you're standing. So if you're sitting down while you're playing the day, just put it on, like that. Try to get your pinky all the way up here at the start. You'll have more fingers crossing the road.
You mean like this?
So you get like
Yeah,
all your fingers.
So 4 notes.
Yeah, I know it's weird, but yes. That was a good one, yeah. So think of this, it's not hard, it's just new, okay? So let's just try lines 4 and 5 together. So we're kind of canceling each other out, but it seems like most people are kind of getting the shape. Yes?
When you are repeating the beat, so you're repeating number 1.
I was, because I'm thinking of it kind of as Onkyoku and that in Kinko-ryu, that's what we do. But would it have to be? Doesn't have to be, but that's what I'm doing. Just because this is a Kinko phrase. So yeah, it's a quote. Okay. Yeah, I would use number 1. You don't have to. Oh, very nice. Do it that way. That's the sound you want. So really the first part of line 6, which is also, it's a Kinko quote, is so we're kind of bringing what we started in line 4 and 5, we're kind of bringing that to a close in the first 2 breaths of line 6. Is that notation clear for non-Kinko people? Must be. Let's try it. Let's just try the first 2 breaths of line 6. And then you ended there. Ended there. So I actually had written something. It's on the back of the special passages for teaching. And I used to do this with the same fingering throughout, just but now I cheat a little bit and I actually start with Sumeri and open number 2 and 3. So if you start with Sumeri, you've got to do number 1 open Sumeri. So if you have a really good Sumeri, then just do it. Just do it all Sumeri.
It's E flat G, E flat G, and then the 2 without the note heads.
Oh, I'm just repeating that pattern and going up in pitch. So,
Okay.
so if the pitch wasn't changing, but I'm changing both the rhythm and the pitch.
And that's the acceleration and the deceleration, that's the,
Yes. So the arrows on top are kind of telling you to speed up and slow down. And I had it originally with accelerando, retardando, but it was just so much information that I thought a symbol might be better than words. So let's try just that little bit first without speeding up, just. Now let's speed up a little and slow down at the end. And if any of you decide that you want to go home and practice the piece, I think the way to do it is learn it without the speeding up and slowing down first. And then once you have that, then you can just let it naturally speed up and slow down. And then that goes right into line 7, so I'm going to play the last breath in line 5 and the first in line 7. This is how it fits together. So, you had asked about Atari. So, at the beginning of line 7, that's just a Atari with that grace note with number 4. Yeah. And to go from the from the A up to the B flat, all you're gonna do is just make a crescendo, add your right hand, and then come back down. So you're going from Mary, gradually to Hari, to louder. Yes?
When you go back down the octave, are you hitting it all for A? Because you don't have the slur.
I don't. I think when I wrote it, I did, but I don't think I'm doing it now. I think I'm probably inconsistent, so I guess I won't insist on it for you. If it's easier to articulate the low the low chi on the A with number 4, let's try that phrase all together. And then this next phrase is probably the hardest one in the piece, so it's putting together that a little run that we used with some other stuff, so how about we, for now, let's skip those first 16th notes. Just look at the eighth notes. So, is that so? Ooh, the first the ooh, then ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, let's try it. Okay, without the first 16s, a couple of times all together. Okay, so once you get up to the chi, it's really not bad. So. Let's just do that. So that's the last 6 notes. Yeah, and so you're ending on a G pitch. So, and I'm gonna play that now. That whole breath. And the first breath of bar 8, because after the first breath of bar 8, where there's the fermata, that's really the end of the beginning of the piece. It's pretty much repetition after that, but this first breath on bar 8 is how it ends. So. do want to teach you the first breath on bar, and the first breath on the second page, the 8th line. If there's any phrase in music that I write that's in almost all my pieces, this is it. So, since I want people to play my music, I want you to learn this. So, the second page, just look at it's a 7, right? So, if you think of, can you hear that just G, ooh, G, ooh, G, ooh, ooh. What I'm doing is that. But while I'm doing it, I'm gradually sliding off number 4. So, yes. And I know I'm messing with your technique. So, another thing about, I just love the idea of phrases ending softly up there. If you are worried about your last note being flat, you can use the other key finger and go. So I'm gradually, don't worry about this if you don't want to, but watch my right hand. So I'm actually ending on this slightly, it's actually considerably sharp C fingering. If you, but it can be it's really helpful if you want to play that note very softly and not worry about the pitch. Because you can have your head a little merry and get it to come out.
You're saying that the high C is flat on Shakuhachi?
No, if you're playing really soft, you tend to play low. So I'm giving you an alternative thing. I think this comes maybe from being a Western flute player. We have all these fake fingerings we use if we have to do something, say, piccolo and orchestra, and they want us to play, the conductor sings softer, softer. So, there are these wrong fingerings that are much sharper, but if you play them really soft, you can get the pitch to come out. So, some things on Shakuhachi I just discovered by accident, and some things, I had a lesson with someone here or there, or saw someone doing something differently. But I really this phrase is really fun to play. It's not hard, it's just new. And I would love for people to be able to do it, because then maybe they would play my other pieces. And it's, I should be keeping an eye on the time too. Oh, we don't have much. So what I need to decide now is, would it be better to just really work on the piece up until here and stop? Because there's some repetition, but there's some new stuff at the end, and it's a lot. And we're, I think, all overloaded with information. We can maybe have a vote, like who wants to just learn it, go over what we've learned up to here, and who wants to keep going. Okay, who wants to just, what we've learned up to here, review? wants to keep going? Who doesn't care?
Who wants 3 more hours to work?
Yeah, well, that would be true for every piece, so,
Anything is okay.
what?
Anything is
Okay.
okay. The next phrase is the same as the start.
Yes, so-
I think this is very much your signature.
It's what?
Very much your signature.
You know what?
Let's just do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on because there are a few things in the, near the end that, the hardest thing was the phrase at the end of the first page, so. Does somebody have what they downloaded from the internet so I can just see if there's one mistake in there or not? Yes, it's in there. So there's one mistake that happens twice that I want to point out. On the second page, in the third line, almost a little more than halfway through, there's a B natural written as B, and it should be B Chumary.
It should be what?
B Chumary, that there, it happens in little notes at the end, that's correct, but the big notes before that, where it's B, G sharp, E, the B should be Chumary. And the same thing on the next to the last line, line 14, 3 notes from the end, that's also B Chumary.
And this one
Line
is okay.
14? Is that line 14?
Yes. So it's,
That is okay.
oh, that's because you have, if I gave you music now, it's correct.
Okay, this is what. the one
Yes,
with
I
the line
found,
there.
yes, yes.
Where was the second?
So this
The second one is,
Because there's. Oh, this last.
oh,
second
no,
last
yours is correct.
No, I think it's not. It's not because that's the true Mary next to it too. So that. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that's
yes,
the,
it's the, yes, it's the one by the, so where we've just gotten to, the second breath in, is in line 6, it's now, gonna be the same material that we've covered, changing a little bit, a little compressed, so, the first two, or line 8, the second and third breaths after the fermata, that first fermata, are the same as the first 2 phrases of the piece, and then it changes a little. So let's just play those 2. Starting from second page, line 8, second breath, uri tsu. And then the beginning of line 9, it's a lot of my phrases will start on the note that the previous phrase ended on. So I've ended. So there's this big, 2 phrases with a big reach. And the beginning of line 9, the only thing that's going to change is your number 1 finger and your head. And it's just, your fingers are almost not changing, so. Can we do just that? And then we're gonna add to that reach that we played on the first page at the bottom. It's where we go up to, and why did I articulate it this time? I don't know, but it is articulated, so. Is it clear how to play that, Trace? Let's try it, beginning of line 9. Somewhat clear?
Oh, do they change the fingers for the A? The last A?
No, okay, thank you. You see the bracket over it?
Oh, okay.
So that should mean that the Sana fingering happens over.
Okay.
And then we have this. So it's just G, 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 G. So if I don't change the speed or the pitch, it's just. If I change the pitch, if I change the speed and the pitch, so I'm just like a big gust of wind, which we've all experienced, right? It's gonna speed you up, and then the wind's gonna slow. Anyway, let's just try it. Your fingers won't change, your mouth will change. Somewhat clear? Okay. And then you're gonna connect it to already on the C pitch on the D. If you have your right hand with number 1 half open, then it doesn't have to change at all. So, do it. You don't have to, but rather than go, you can just go. It's fast. Let's just and make sure the D is still hard. I put a line over it because that's important to me. So I'm going to play the first 5 notes of line 10 and then the little echo after it. So that little echo, you just can leave your right hand in place and then just go. Yes, just moving your head. Yes. We have a whistler. And I'm going to go ahead on that line. Now in the middle of line 10. And then you're still gonna, once you see, once you get to that E natural, your right hand does not have to move for the rest of the line. And then you can do the same fingering as the, but you keep your head married so it starts on the B. Actually, everybody working on that, it's kind of a pretty sound. I'm tempted to record it. Is that somewhat clear? Before I add the end of line 9 to it, just check this. Oh, 2 minutes. There just isn't time. There isn't time. So what we're gonna do, you're gonna look at line 14. Do you see where it starts at? Sujimari, B, G sharp, E. You see that? We're gonna start there and play to the end together.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have lunch.
All right.